Hello, this podcast is brought to you by the Samadhi Institute. All of our podcasts are available from our website http://grupo-samadhi.net. In my capacity as director of the Samadhi Institute, it is my greatest pleasure to welcome you to our new bi-weekly English podcast about socio-economic and human development, integral theory and experimental societies. You are with us if you want to change the world. You can do that. We are doing that. It is important for us to create a personal relationship using telephone or internet telephony or hangouts, because it is so important to connect. For this we have a forum at our website. Today, after our energetic contemplation, I want to read some excerpts from a free ebook written by a young Canadian, Yas Gacha. The title, First Civilization. It might to help free your mind. In the last 2 weeks, we did not experience unusual solar effects or disturbances of the Earth's magnetic field. So we hope you can rest in the brilliant, transformative and evolutionary energy we are in. Please consider this quite relaxing time as a time of meditation, gaining energy for transformation. And now let us hear some excerpts from the free ebook written by a young Canadian, Yas Gacha, the title First Civilization. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. This is a quotation of R. Buckminster Fuller. There is a certain model that pervades virtually every aspect of our lives. It affects the way humans behave and interact with each other, determines which humans wear diamonds on their fingers and which ones dig for diamonds in the dirt, and even plays a strong hand in determining who lives and who dies. The model I speak of is human society. Our political, economic and social systems combine to create a very peculiar model of our global society. In our current model, it's possible for one continent to face an obesity epidemic while another continent faces mass starvation. Resources that could be used to improve human lives and alleviate suffering are instead turned into weapons with which to end human lives and encourage suffering. A highly adaptable and intelligent species, capable of mastering complex technologies and surviving in virtually any environment, has become its own greatest threat to survival. Our global society seems to be a fantastic model for inefficiency, needless destruction, and the complete absence of logic and reason. In keeping with the advice of Mr. Fuller, the purpose of this book is to display to the world a new potential model for human society. In this new model, we take full advantage of our scientific and technical powers to free humans from mundane labor tasks and create an abundance of goods and services. We rid ourselves of obsolete constructs such as money, national borders, governments, and all other forms of oppressive control. This is a system that recognizes the inescapable interconnections of every organism on the planet and sees that the suffering of one human invariably leads to the suffering of other humans and the deterioration of society as a whole. And finally, this is a system in which the completion of tasks is no longer based upon the arbitrary exchange of shiny trinkets, but the availability of Earth's resources. This model is called a resource-based economy, or RBE. An RBE is a system unlike any socio-economic system that has been employed in history, in that it was not designed by consulting traditional beliefs or ancient philosophies. Instead, this model was conceived by using the most powerful tool in the history of human thought: science. In this system, we attempt to address the problems facing society by considering evidence and making choices based on logic and scientifically supported ideas. Using scientific thought, we can treat society problems as technical issues to be solved the same way that we troubleshoot a malfunctioning computer or attempt to repair a car. If an idea conflicts with evidence, it must be re-evaluated and revised to be in better accord with the reality. Unfortunately, contemporary society has, in a depressingly large number of ways, completely separated itself from reality. So, as you read this book, you will almost certainly come across claims and theories that seem to spit in the face of common sense, but which are actually backed up by our scientific understanding. Not surprisingly, we'll start things off with a quick science lesson. This book begins with an introductory chapter on human behavior and the way the environment in which we live and grow has a profound effect on our development. It is of critical importance that we understand this concept before delving into the details of an RBE, since many of the ideas we'll encounter on our journey seem counterintuitive and contrary to common experience. Having an understanding of the link between our behavior and the environment will therefore prevent a lot of unnecessary confusion. One could easily write an entire book on this subject, but for our purposes, I will simply highlight a few examples and behaviors that are particularly important to address. Once we are equipped with the basic knowledge, we'll head into the main body of this book. At this point, you'll also understand why I have chosen the title The First Civilization. Section 1 is a thorough in-depth look at the potential configuration for our resource-based economy. We'll discuss the specific technologies that could be used to make such a system possible and how they would be utilized for our benefit. We'll also talk about the ins and outs of managing a system without money, governments, and any other form of coercive control. The main point of this section is to provide you with a solid understanding of how this kind of system might work. That being said, you'll probably find yourself with more questions than answers. This is where section 2 comes in. In this section, we will go over questions, concerns, objections, and complaints that have been brought up in response to the RBE idea. Specifically, we go over such issues as how to deal with unlimited human wants, fears of a new world order, the economic calculation problem, issues relating to artificial intelligence, comparisons to socialism, overpopulation, and many others. By doing so, we'll further see the logical strengths of this potential system. Of course, we must keep in mind at all times that the system is, as of right now, still entirely theoretical. No matter how much evidence and logic we have in favor for this idea, it ultimately does us little good unless the idea can be thoroughly tested and its merits can be observed and measured. Enter section 3. Here we will go through an example of a step-by-step protocol that could be used to test an RBE. In keeping with our general theme of scientific thought, this plan takes the form of a series of scientific experiments. In addition to providing us with a way to test the RBE concept, it would also serve as a very interesting experiment in human behavior and health. We would learn just how much of a negative impact our current system is having on the physical and mental health of our species. The primary purpose of this plan is to create an example community that is based upon the principles of an RBE and use this as a platform to push for further, ideally global, implementation of this new system. As you read this book, keep in mind that my purpose is not to create an absolute, immutable instruction manual for the system or to make any absolute claims about what in the future should look like. Rather, I simply wish to provide one possible example of what the future could look like. My goal is to show that a system as seemingly fantastic and idealistic as an RBE is not only technically possible, but is fully within our grasp to create and would have a high probability of success. In addition, I fully expect that every scientific idea I put forth in this book will eventually be superseded by better ideas and superior technologies. In fact, I sincerely hope that this will occur. The quality that truly separates science from all other methods of thought is that science accepts nothing as an absolute truth. Ideas continually evolve and improve. So you should expect that even as you are reading this book, many of the scientific technologies I mention will have already been rendered obsolete. But worry not, for the specifics are not nearly as critical to the success of our species as the general understandings we will gain from this thought experiment. One final point I will mention before we begin our trip in this. Question every word that I say in this book. After all, I'm literally just some random guy, and there's absolutely no reason you have to believe a single thing that I say. For that reason, I filled this book with references to other works by experts in their respective fields, and I've applied my own logic and reasoning to the ideas and concepts in these works in order to give you a comprehensive argument for an RBE.